I'll have to be honest with you. First thing I'm going to mention right up front is it's free. I like this service when it's free because, you know, you can tie up a lot of money in different services, and from experience I found out that sometimes you can pay a lot of money and you may not be getting that much out of it.
Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name is Cody Bills, this is Logan Burgess. Today is Thursday the 12th, and we had the USDA WSDA report come out today, and it drove the markets pretty crazy here. Corn trading down 6 1/4 cents. Beans for November trading up 37 3/4. Wheat in Chicago up 5 cents, and Kansas City wheat trading up 7 cents. Logan, you know, there were some surprises in this report. What surprised you the most?
You know, I think when people are looking at the numbers today from the USDA, the first thing that's really going to stick out was the yield number from corn. Let's take a look here at this table breaking down production for both 2013-14 corn and soybeans. As you can see here, we had harvested acreage for corn unchanged. Average yield, though, as I said, was the big story. The trade coming into this report was looking for the USDA to actually lower yield by about a bushel per acre. We actually saw the yield raised about a bushel per acre. That carried into production and obviously got corn started out in the red here today.
You know, one thing that is interesting when you look at the price action for corn is the fact that it started trading lower very sharply, down about 16 cents after that report. But we were able to find some traction. We were able to actually finish, you know, trading not trading higher on the day, but we were trending higher from the lows. What was able to give us that traction for corn? Do you think it'll last?
You know, it really seemed like the traction that we found today was from soybeans, and I guess to answer your question, is it going to last? I'd be a little bit more nervous about this corn market than soybeans, but we'll get to that in a minute. Just if we look at the action that really drove soybeans higher today, in terms of production, take a look here. The trade really did a good job nailing down what the USDA was going to come out with. These numbers here, you can see average yield was lowered a bit here. That carried into production, but really the trade was expecting these revisions. Pretty spot on with what people were looking for coming into the report. The big number that people are going to look at, though, from today was the 2013-14 U.S. ending stocks for soybeans in particular. You can see here from this table, today we now have 150 million bushels expected for new crop ending stocks of soybeans. That was about 15 million bushels lower than what the trade was expecting. And it really seems like the market thought that the USDA was going to ratchet demand side numbers back more than they did today. That didn't come through, that didn't show in the numbers here, and as a result we had a lower than expected ending stock number. Just to put this in terms of stock to use ratio, right now we have new crop stock to use expectations sitting at 4.8%. That's barely higher than the 4% we had on last year's abysmal crop. So certainly a lot of reasons here for the soybean bulls to be excited.
So it seems really soybeans was the highlight of this report. Soybeans obviously trading 37 3/4 cents higher. That's really where the market was paying attention to. And if you look at the 5-minute chart, you'll notice that we went higher immediately after the report, but then we started tapering off a little bit. But we had two other solid pushes higher, closing out on the highs of the day. Do you think that this rally that we saw after the report was released will continue here in the coming weeks?
You know, I do think we're going to get a little bit of a follow through on just today's numbers. Certainly, as I said, a real reason for the bulls to get excited about. But, you know, looking at the daily chart here on the soybean, on November soybeans here, I think if we can get a strong push above 14.09, that was the contract highs from last summer, I'd be looking to price a little bit of beans here. I think that's going to be a good opportunity on this rally, and I guess here moving forward into harvest, weather's going to be a big driver, but I'm concerned about new bullish sentiment entering this market. Certainly we've had a lot over the last month, during the month of August. I'm just worried it's going to slow up a little bit here. What's kind of your take on that, Cody?
I think I'm a little bit more bullish than you, and I think that there is some potential for bullish news to come onto the market. For one, when you look at last year's price action and you look at where soybeans kind of topped out, it was really after, right kind of during that harvest period. And I think the reason we saw that is because last year the weather situation was very different. We were getting a little bit more moisture toward the tail end of the year, and that actually we saw the crop improving going into harvest. This year's very different. The crop is deteriorating going into harvest. I think that leaves the door open for the USDA to potentially make revisions in next WSDA report. I think that could continue to fuel some bullish sentiment going into the next month. One other thing too that we've talked about, but a lot of this, the warmer weather, people have started kind of shelving the idea that there could be frost freeze threats. I think that is a little bit foolish to do. I think the growing degree days that we've seen this year are still lacking. I think the fact that we got into the fields late, we got the crop planted late, it's been a cold growing season, a lot of this crop is still well behind, and I think it leaves it very susceptible to even an average freeze date. And I think that that could be another wild card that continues to move this soybean market higher. The bottom line here for me is I still think that soybeans, especially this bullish move that we've seen in the last month, I think it still has more upside. I'm a little bit more bullish than you, I think, but either way, I still think producers should be taking advantages of these prices because eventually the bullish news will start to taper. I just think that we might have a little bit more coming down the line.
Yeah, certainly. In today's numbers, we saw the USDA project a very large crop out of Brazil, 88 million metric tons. That's something that, at some point is certainly going to weigh on the market, but we'll have to see really how much biting power the frost freeze threat and a number of other good points that you laid out there has on this market. We'll help keep you posted on that here on GrainTV moving forward, but certainly today, just looking at the report today that really put soybeans on some good footing to make another move higher. Corn, still some questions there, especially with that yield number getting raised. We'll have to see what the coming weeks bring. Certainly the next big report we have is the September 30th quarterly grain stock report. We'll help keep you posted on expectations coming into that. Thanks a lot for joining us here, though, on GrainTV for a report day. We'll see you tomorrow.